Hi, welcome back to Mechanic Garage. Just been faffing around with a few little bits and bats. I've got the Rover welding done at last. It was a job yesterday that I had to do because the weather was okay and it was going to be rubbish today. Turns out it's not rubbish today, so it's but at least it's done. I need to finish off the bit of filling where the welding is and then get it painted and hopefully go for an MOT quite soon. The windscreen is getting changed tomorrow, so I've just put all the interior back in when I've had it apart for welding, and I've got all the interior trim out because some of the fabric's gone a bit saggy, and we'll get that glued back together before I refit it. Obviously this is a Rover, and if you'd seen the other videos, I just welded up the entire inner sill and I've just put the outer sill on at this back corner, sort of from about here forwards, put the entire panel in. And it wasn't the easiest thing to fit because of the welding. The panel fitted like a glove. It was perfect. It was just the actual welding. So there's a little bit of filling needs to go on just to tidy up where the welding was. And I just sprayed it heavy coat of primer last night because it was going to be packed up overnight. Interior's all back together. I had all this stripped obviously because there's welding there and you don't want anything getting fiery behind that. Windscreen, yeah, you can see the crack there. It goes all the way across. No, can't really see it there. That's getting done tomorrow. These clips, some of them are obsolete. The ones that run along the top that clip in off the trim are obsolete. You can't get them anymore. So I thought I would be dead gentle and get them all out. So rather than risk the windscreen fitter just clicking a few and breaking them, I thought if I break them at least it's my problem. And that one, one of these, I can stick it back on. These are okay, you can still get them. It's the ones that sit into these, hold top trim on, you can't. But I knew some of them were obsolete. As I showed you in the previous video, I've got the whole wipers and scuttle area off because that's all going to get cleaned out when it's done. And then the poor thing needs a really good clean up and polish. So I dare say it'll look a lot better, and I really don't know where these two fine scratches came from. I'm hoping they're not wheelie bin related, but they'll polish out anyway. I've just done the fuel filter on the back of this thing. A bit of a pig to get at because unscrew the bottom half of it, it unscrews the whole filter off the mounting. So then you've got to disconnect all fuel pipes and stick it in the vise because it's so tight. But that's that done. Remember I said about the Riga and the fact that cars have got tow bars and things and other things, all the rest of it. Well, the Eastern Bloc trailer, DDR trailer, East German, IFA, IFA, whichever way they say it. I managed to get them brackets in the centre welded on. There's a channel going to run along the middle. The bike will sit in that. Say bike, moped. Two minds whether to box the sides of it all in and then put some wood either side or something similar either side, or whether to just leave it as a skeletal frame with the ends tidied up. Obviously the rear panel is a lot longer than it needs to be. I just put it on for getting it back, put the lights onto it. But other than that, it's a bit of a slow progress. I was hoping to get this done, painted, and a tow bar made for the Wartburg this year, but I have got a bit more information and little video bits on this, so I'll stick those in now because it's not really the sort of thing I need to put as a complete video. Right, the camping trailer that I was doing, I've now removed the body, chopped a few bits off and got rid of the rotten floor, and I'm left with this now. It's slightly over-engineered for a bike trailer. Swing arm, suspension, leaf sprung. I'm going to have to reduce some of the camber because it's a bit excessive, and also now there's no weight on it. It's very at the top of its travel. So I'm going to drop a couple of leaves off and reduce the height of it slightly. And that way, once you get the frame on and the bike, it won't be quite so high up. Not quite sure how much I'm going to have to do. I might end up having to alter the camber and putting some spacers in the ends of the axle tubes. stub axle, sorry. We'll see how, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Looking at it, I doubt I will be able to, but it's not the end of the world. If I can lower it slightly, lose some of the camber, and go from there. Right, I'm at work, so I haven't got my tripod and everything with me, so I can only do a bit at a time. I flipped it over. I'm going to take out the handbrake cables. I'm going to separate these arms off, drop the spring out, take maybe 2-3 leaves off it to soften it up, and go from there. Because it all comes apart dead easily, I'm going to strip it and repaint it once I've built it all anyway, so better way of doing it, it'll look nicer. Plus, have a look at this brake. It seems to be a long way in compared to others I've seen, and the handbrake, when it's on, goes right round over and back on itself. So I think this is something wrong in here, it's not returning properly, but we'll have a look. But unfortunately I can't really film much, so it'll be a bit at a time like this. Right, I've taken off those 3, and it sprung like hell, so there's a lot of tension in those alone. So now I've got 3 leaves on there, and instantly the camber's a lot less. I mean, obviously there's weight of the steel to go on, and then you've got the weight of the bike. But now I've got a bit of give in the suspension. Granted, it's all loose at the minute, but the spring's not bolted on. But that's got a lot less camber and a lot more suspension travel, because it's not carrying the weight of the box anymore. It's a lot lighter. So realistically, I think that'll do. I think one more will probably be too much, then it'll be sitting on the bump stops too much, but yeah, I think that'll be alright actually. Just have to bring the steel in and then load it up with a similar sort of weight to the bike and see what it sits like. You're going to have a bit of camber going the wrong way anyway, just by nature of how it is. I don't think there's any point in doing anything drastic to adjust that. I think it's pretty alright as it is. I can't go much less on the spring. I might one less maybe, but I'll try it. I mean, it's only trial and error, and I can put everything back. So I'll take one more off and see what happens. Right, that's another leaf out. It's now sat on the rubber stops, so the wheels are right, but there's no real suspension travel now, so I'm going to put the 3rd one back in. Once I get the bike on and the extra channel on, it'll be alright. I mean, at the moment, you can't really see, it's got a bit of movement, but that's more the rubber than anything else, and that's without anything on it. So camber's a lot better now. I don't have to worry about that now. So yeah, I'll bang that 3rd one back in. It's all gonna have to come apart again anyway to get painted and stuff, so but everything just coming apart brilliantly. No issues with that. So it won't be a long job before this is done as well. And I'll get the bike finished, because then I've got to put something on this. It's massively over-engineered for a 40kg moped, but in future I might get an MZ or something a bit heavier, a bit bigger. That was my original plan. The guy that was selling one that I was going to go and fetch decided to not sell it anymore, but didn't tell me that. He just ignored me. Wonders of Facebook Marketplace. So yeah, next job will be to decide how much of these I need. I think the better having them anyway. The rear one I'm going to strengthen slightly and put the lights and that on. I'm not going to worry about having a ramp on it, because to be honest, what I'm putting on isn't going to be heavy enough to worry, and you can also lift the front end up. So it's not worth the hassle. You could always drop the jockey wheel, wind it up, and there's a bit of a buffer at the bottom I'm going to leave on, and then that'll stop the lights getting squashed. So the light's not on the back end. Front end will be some sort of small upright to hold the front, support the front wheel. Going to mount the tie downs to this, and there on that side, and probably on the outside of these outriggers here somewhere. Pull one forward and one sort of down towards the back. That'll be all right. So yeah, that's what's been going on with that. It's on a bit slow progress. I've got the old Wartburg wheels, which are 4.5 inch wide, and then I've got the Trabant wheels, which are 4-inch wide and not interchangeable because it catches the front suspension. Now Trabant has got those wheels on the back and those wheels on the front, so I've got 2 of each, and the plan is to use these 2 wheels here on the trailer, and the 2 wheels on the trailer will then go into the Trabant because they're all the same wheel. These are just wider. That way I've got a matching full set of wheels for this, which is paused at the minute, but I'm hoping, the sun's too bright, you can't see it. I'm hoping to get this out of here onto its side, get the subframes and everything off it, and then I can start assessing how bad the rot is underneath, because I can't do it when it's on the ground, obviously. Things like this, need to chop them all out and replace it. But it's literally, said before, where the bonding and the glue is, it's all given up, but beyond it, it's rock solid, and it's like that all the way around. The bottom corner, this piece here should continue something like all the way along. It's gone, same as at the back corner, but I've shown you all this before anyway, so it's a bit more of an update than actually doing video. I've had a few other bits to sort out and things to faff about with, so I'm going to try and do a bit with the Trabant, but if not, I'll stick it into another video and we'll go from there. Well, I didn't get as far as turning it over. There's quite a bit to get rid of first. I've just basically been clearing out the engine bay of anything that doesn't need to be there for now. I've got it to a point where it's more or less stripped. I need to disconnect the steering column, brake pipes are off. It's not too bad, is it? 1978, and all the brake pipes undid. The first brake pipes needed on a modern car and they'll snap off, guarantee it. So the chances are the originals, and a lot better than some new stuff. But literally, all that holds this in now is those bolts down there. Don't know if you can see them, where we are. There. That one there, and there and there. I think there's 3 on each side. And they bolt to this, which is a little bit on the crusty side. That's a bit I need to replace all the way along. It's in the centre there, behind there. And everything bolts to it. Now, while this is all out, also going to get cleaned up, painted, just build up the entire subframe in one piece, and then drop the body back on. So the engine and gearbox and everything will all be back in. Chances are I'll have the engine running before it's bolted back in, just because it's a couple of wires, and why not? At least I know then if it's easier to do work on it whilst it's out. Whilst the subframe's out, it's easier to get to the engine to do work. It's not exactly much to it. I mean, there's a bell housing bolts and mounting there. I think that's about it. I think literally just lifts out and you pick it up by hand. There's not much to it. So yeah, next job will be to get the shock absorber tops off, steering column out. I think that's it. Oh, the exhaust, I'll have to disconnect it part way at least. So I may have to lift it up slightly to get underneath and get a bit of stuff out of the way. I don't think I'll be doing that today. It's getting on a bit and I've got stuff everywhere. But also I'll have to dig my engine crane out, which is buried in the back shed. Plus then fastening it to something to lift it. I can't have to move it across here because I can't lift it that way because the Skoda's in the way. If I lift it this way, I can't get the crane in. It means moving the Rover. It's just like, it's too late on a Sunday night for that faffing. So what I'll probably just do for now is pack up and put things back, get them out of the way before I cause too much blooming trouble for myself. I'll pack everything away. Then next time, I think, once the Rover's gone out of the way, because that's all being well going to get sorted soon. But finish the bodywork off, as I said earlier, get a new screen in it, then I can get an MOT on it. Once it's MOTable, I can sell it. This is just a long-term plodding job, but of course the other issue is when I take this out, that's another big lump of something I've got to store. and I'm already running out of space. So it might be worth leaving it in for now until I get the parts, or certainly have it, lift the body off, clean it all up and everything, put it back in just on the mountings at the back. I don't know, we'll see. There's a massive amount of welding to do underneath, just replacing that cross member. So if I can get that done, then everything can bolt back together fairly substantial. I've yet to see how bad it is underneath. I haven't really looked. I've seen little bits of it, and it's not great, but it could be worse. Could be a lot worse, I'll be honest. The antler, the main cross member as they call it, you can get. They're readily available and they're not silly money. Now, bits and sills like there I can replace and cut out and repair. The main sill bits are okay. I might get replacement sills just if I'm doing the centre piece and the front piece. Sorry, both ends of it. It might be worth just getting the sills as well while I'm there. That way things will line up easier and better when putting it all back together. It's a bit of a long project, this one. It's not going to be anything that's going to be on the road this year or next. But if I can make progress with it and start getting somewhere and get to a point where you're no longer taking it apart, then I'll be happy, because at the minute all I'm doing is taking it to bits and poking holes in it, and that's where you end up with unfinished projects, because people go too far with them, then realise it's an absolute money pit and they've too much to do, too many parts to buy, and then find something else usually. But no, this is long term, next couple of years I'd imagine, before it's back together and done. Maybe even longer, we shall see. Excuse me. The constantly finding other cars is the problem. But if I can get the stuff I've got finished, I've said I'm not going to buy any more. I said that when I bought the Trabant, I said I wasn't going to buy any more. Then this turned up miraculously. I don't know how, it just appeared. But Wartburg needs a bit of work doing, and that's my daily sort of classic. I said daily, it's a regular classic, the one that gets used all the time. Won't be using it through winter, so if I can get the bits sorted for that, then it's basically rear wheel bearings, brake shoes, things like that, gearbox seals. Nothing disastrous, just normal servicing stuff. This one is just an ongoing, do a bit here and there. Once I start getting rid of some of the rusty bits, start getting new bits in, it'll be a bit better. So, right, I'm going to get packed up Sunday night, get this edited later and get it out before it gets too late. And if you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. It's been a bit all over the place, so there's nothing specific going on, it's just a bit of everything. And you're not really seeing much of it going on, to be honest, because it's I need to decide what I'm doing and film it, rather than just flitting from one thing to another. But if you're still here now, thank you very much for hanging about, and we'll see you in another video. Cheers.